Hello everyone, this is Venus Brown. I will be doing a reaction and discussion of Season 1, Episode 2 of The Crown. Now I have watched this series before. I'm not sure exactly how far I got, but I think I've got almost to the end. Either way, the last episode, I thought that at that point that the princess had already gone on her tour where she was in Africa, but I was wrong about that. That has not occurred yet. We just saw that the king is sick, and somebody did notify me that the king was known to have had a stutter that he had overcome at that point. So now I know that can have some involvement with what was going on, but the illness also could have had something to do with it. We also saw the wedding ceremony and the ceremony for the prince to be elevated in the military. I think it was the Royal Navy. And some of the back-to-back ceremonies going on may have had to do with why the king's coughing up blood was not addressed right then and there. Later on, the king does receive surgery to remove an organ, and even after that occurs, he comes back to the doctor later on to report that he is coughing up a lot more blood, and the doctor tells him that he has cancer, that they don't know how long he has to live, but that it's not likely to be very long. So I think he begins to go through this process where he's trying to bring his daughter in to see more of the things that he has to do for his duties as a king, yet he does not notify anyone else that this is happening. And I kind of understand that if he tells people that he's dying from cancer, then that can cause all sorts of other chaos and questioning about whether he's suitable for the throne, and it can just add a lot of extra challenges to the situation, especially with a position like that, and to the way that people are going to treat him, the way his family members are going to treat him, and the way his whole family is going to act. So I think just to try to maintain some semblance of normalcy, he keeps that to himself. Anyway, I don't want to go on longer than I need to. I know I have a tendency of being a little bit long-winded, so I am trying to work on that. Let's get on with the show. So this is it. This is the episode with the tour. It will be interesting to watch Matt Smith in this position versus his position in House of the Dragon.
It's not a head, it's a crown.
Yeah. Be respectful there, Damon. I am struggling with the trimming and editing portion of the reaction videos, so I'm trying to find better ways to do them more efficiently. It'll just take me a while. Now, I never really used to be into all these like royal shows and bourgeoisie and stuff like that, but in the last few years I have gotten a lot more interested in shows like this, so it's an interesting shift because I never used to like this kind of stuff at all. Honestly, I think the show Merlin started it. I loved Merlin so much. I was looking for pretty much anything I could find with royalty, with old history, period pieces and stuff like that. And so this, Reign, Downton Abbey, and a few other things.
That's true. But you need to be a monster to defeat Hitler. Did Jock give you my box?
You'd like me to open it?
Unless you have X-ray vision, you will need to open it to be able to tell me what's in it.
The economic situation we have inherited is worse than 1949. And in many ways worse.
I do wonder how close this representation of him is to how he was in real life.
I'd be interested to hear
some of this stuff is hilarious.
regarding the chances.
What in the hell is he doing?
For recovery.
I take it he's got to go to the bathroom really bad, but
Either we get rid of him now, or we lose
doesn't
the
want
next
to
election and
disrupt
quite
the
possibly
meeting.
lose power for a hold. This is your time. The country needs a younger, more dynamic man.
And what do you expect me to do?
Run. Run against him.
He's the party leader. And he became party leader on our recommendation. I can't just push him out.
Then you must go and see the one person who can.
Hello. And this for me? Thank you very much.
Haribou,
Thank you.
vous les appelez bien?
Why does everybody think just because we're royal, we like fine dining? Don't they realise we're savages good for nothing but spoons and nursery food? It's all right. You can use your fingers. Look, stop. Watch.
People don't know any better. You try to maintain a certain kind of
You're all right.
image, and people only know what they see, what they assume. With some of their continued occupying and colonizing of these nations, I wonder how much of it is that they really honestly believe that they're doing a good thing, that where they think that, oh, we're helping this country, bringing them to what, a more modern position, you know, and if that was your only intention, then fine, you know, friggin' at least work with the people, make sure that that's actually what they want, and if it is, then go ahead and do that, but then friggin' leave. You don't need to stay there. You don't need to colonize their nations. To me, it looks more like this desire to at least have some control over almost every square inch of the earth. That and the pompous belief that they are civilized and modern and right and doing the right thing, whereas they see these other nations as uncivilized.
White flag.
Okay, so I think of white flag as surrender, but maybe that white flag is like a warning or something. He wants to correct me if I'm wrong.
I'll drop the ladder for you. I'll keep him distracted.
No. You stay with the princess. Elizabeth, go. Go.
Yeah, those elephants might look all big, beautiful, and cute, but they are also very dangerous. Very heavy. You.
Thank you. Well, I thought I'd ask if we might return to Malta, so you can resume your naval career.
I know absolutely nothing about Malta.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely so.
No.
Come on, this one. Come on, just want to slot.
No.
Slot.
There's no.
Thimble. Thimble.
So is Tembo for like elephant or danger or what? It does look like they're trying to like show this representation as though he does have still an issue with stuttering, like it isn't completely overcome. I think though like Biden has a stutter that he's overcome, and you do see sometimes, I think, when he's in really high stress, high anxiety positions, sometimes even though he's kind of overcome that stutter, there's still, you can still hear these little, you know, stammers and stuff like that every now and then. And you know, and it is difficult, I think, for him not to stumble over language sometimes. I don't even have a stutter and I stumble over language sometimes. Enjoy it while you can. It's not gonna last. last much longer.
We can't. The news is breaking everywhere. They can't keep holding.
No news of the princess?
No, sir. Is it a yes to the BBC?
So are they breaking it on the news now?
Start the engine.
British Broadcasting Company.
Just make sure the fair's off.
Before the princess has been notified that she's no longer a princess.
Overheated.
It is with the greatest sorrow that we make the following announcement. It was announced from Sandringham at 10:45 today.
Le décès a été annoncé ce matin depuis sa propriété privée de Sandringham.
Mwelekeo yake ikawa ya mwisho ya umma.
I wonder how that would feel. Like to know that the whole world knew about your father's passing before you did. But I guess it really can't be helped.
Let's go. Let's drive, shall we? Ready? Ready?
Mheshimiwa Samani Duke.
Come bringing tidings of terrible news.
I'm really happy. No, no, no. I should be the one to tell her.
This is how we tell her, with our eyes. Not appropriate, dudes. Really not appropriate. I wouldn't think they would have done the embalming right there, but okay, to each their own. Probably better for us to see him now than after it's all done. Later on when they like finish the process and put them in the casket and they look so different. Wrong.
I'm going to send you away, but I won't let come. I'm going to tell my mother not to send you. I won't.
It appears Miss MacDonald neglected to pack a black dress. We've called ahead to London and brought onto the plane before you disembark.
Right.
And a word of warning, ma'am. A good many journalists outside. Royal correspondents mostly, assigned to cover the tour.
Should I say something?
No, that won't be necessary. Though it would help if we could decide here and now on your name.
My name?
I remember
Yes,
this part.
Your regular name.
That's weird.
And that is the name you'll take as queen. Your father took George. Obviously his name was Albert. Before he abdicated, your uncle took Edward. Of course, his name was David.
What's wrong with my name?
Nothing.
It's just tradition.
Well, then, let's not overcomplicate matters unnecessarily. My name is Elizabeth.
And long live Queen Elizabeth.
Don't think she was ready for that. I don't think he's ready for that. He's definitely not ready for that. I am of the firm belief that some traditions are fine, but some traditions, if they cause problems, are not appropriate for certain people, do not fit well with current situation should probably change. That particular one, I would think it should be up to the individual.
And to ask him to bid you to stand down.
That's impossible. The king would never engage in such treachery. And Anthony would never dare. I've been like a father to him. I've groomed him every step of the way.
You know how we like to use the word grooming nowadays to indicate bad things?
It's probably nothing.
All I could think.
No, it's probably nothing.
Not the same meaning, though. Not really.
What do you think will happen?
When?
When we land? What will happen then?
It'll be a whole different ball game.
Wait a minute, Anthony. If you're presiding over the meeting on behalf of the PM, shouldn't you be sitting in the appropriate chair?
I don't think that's entirely necessary.
Is he gonna show up? Men and their goings-ons.
Sorry,
Beautiful.
sister. Queen Mother, this morning, who then asked me, quite unusually, to ask you whether you might like to reconsider such a departure.
Oh, sir?
She felt that you had enjoyed an uncommonly close association with her late husband and earned not just his trust, the trust and affection of the whole family.
Thank you, sir.
In the light of this, she wondered whether you might consider staying on in a new role as controller of the Queen Mother's household.
I see.
A kind and generous offer, as befits the widow of a kind and generous man. But while I'm sure you're greatly flattered, I don't expect you to accept the post. Hence my discouragement of the offer. I didn't want Her Majesty to suffer the embarrassment of a refusal.
Why would I not accept, sir?
You're asking the wrong question, Townsend. Why would you? You're a decorated war hero, still in your prime. Controller of the Queen Mother's household, has no military associations. Would take you away from your wife and children. After all, the person with whom you enjoyed the uncommonly close understanding is deceased.
Yeah, you're missing a few pieces. Or you're just denying them.
Unless I'm missing something.
Right there.
Unless there is someone else with whom you enjoy an uncommonly close understanding, which would make accepting this post more attractive.
I don't know what you're referring to, sir.
Don't you, Group Captain Townsend? Husband and father.
No, sir.
I want you to make the right decision.
I already have, sir. The answer is yes.
And I know you will be as devastated as I am by this loss. But you must put those sentiments to one side now, for duty calls. The grief for your father's death will be felt far and wide. Your people will need your strength and leadership. Have seen
Is that the same
great
stuff that they were
monarchies
using on
fall down
Outlander
through their failure to
that Claire was
separate
using
personal
to
indulgences from duty?
put herself out?
You must not allow yourself
Although that's
to make
not putting
similar
her out.
mistakes.
I wonder.
And while you mourn your father,
Maybe it's just
you must also
oxygen.
mourn someone else.
No.
That's what had happened then. No, sir, if you don't mind, the Crown takes precedence.
All those traditions that they have to have just right. That you don't necessarily think about before a situation like this. And that they apparently don't even think about before a situation like this.
In the end, death came as a friend. And after a happy day of sunshine and sport, and after good night to those who loved him best, he fell asleep. As every man or woman who strives to fear God and nothing else in the world may hope to do. Famous have been the reigns of our queens. Some of the greatest periods in our history have unfolded under their scepters. Queen Elizabeth II, like her namesake, Queen Elizabeth I, did not pass her childhood in any certain expectation of the crown. This new Elizabethan age comes at a time when mankind stands uncertainly poised
Wait.
on the edge of catastrophe.
Okay, that was the end. That was The Crown, Season 1, Episode 2. I do wonder at what point in history and what ruler was on the throne when the position of the Prime Minister started becoming more important than the crown. And maybe like what point they were kind of more evenly positioned. Just something interesting that I wonder about. So this episode, we see King George in his last moments of life, and this is the episode that I had thought was the first episode, where they're on tour in Africa, and that is when the princess finds out about her father passing, and then begins all the traditional things that have to occur that maybe might not be all that understood or comfortable, that maybe some people didn't realize before that position. And the princess has to change her name. We're going to start seeing some of the titles changing. We did see the situation with Townsend and Margaret. So, of course, I don't think they're having an affair at that point. But definitely people have noticed that they are very close. In more than just a friendly way. And of course Townsend has a wife and children, so that is definitely not appropriate. And so even though the Queen intentionally asks him to stay on board, his successor is like, no, you are in the military, and this position that they are requesting you stay in has nothing to do with the military, and the little birds and whispers have been going on around the kingdom, so we know that something's going on between you and Margaret, and this will not stand. So we definitely saw that. We also saw the young buck get called to try to, I think, reposition himself so that possibly they can push out Winston Churchill for a younger, more physically able person. But I think we know that doesn't go anywhere for a while. And then we also get to see the Queen Mother, I think it is. Not the person, from my understanding, not the person that was married to King George, his mother. Her call Queen Elizabeth to start transitioning to her role as Queen Mother and addressing the reality that there are going to be these conflicts where you have the old, Princess Elizabeth who now has to change hats and change roles and now is Queen Elizabeth, and that there are going to be certain conflicts, and it has to be the crown that takes priority in all situations. So, and I'm pretty sure we get to see a lot of that. Queen Elizabeth, from what I recall, took her duties very seriously and took her image and position as the crown very seriously. So, anyway, I'll see you on the next episode for season 1, episode 3, which is called Windsor. And I'm not sure what Hyde Park is in relation to the episode. I'll have to look it up. I've heard of Hyde Park, but beyond that, I don't know. So, Hyde Park Corner was the name of this episode. And the last episode, which I didn't even think about, was called Wolferton Splash. See you next episode. Bye.